There's nothing like a fish that's feeding or tailing. You might look at this and think it might be a bonefish, but it's something that's very close to home. It's the carp. My tip is practice on fish that are close to home. One of the most important fish that you can fish for as a fly fisherman that's almost everywhere is the carp. While there are carp such as grass carp that could be the hardest fish on earth to catch, there are common carp that are easy to catch with the same methods and flies that you use to catch trout or bluegills or bass. Carp can be a very enjoyable and fun pursuit that'll help hone your skills no matter if you're going for bonefish or whether you're going for trout. You can have great fun fishing for carp.
When you're carp fishing like this, as I'm moving along, I'm moving slowly so that I can see these fish through the water. And like I was saying, a good pair of polarized glasses to take that glare off the water is essential. So as I'm walking along, I'm moving slowly, and I'm looking for not only color but movement, dark shadows in the water, anything like that that might be a fish. I'm not just blindly casting out in front of me because, again, these carp are very wary. So if you're just splashing on the water, you're probably going to scare the fish off before you have a real opportunity to catch him. I've got one looking at it, but I don't think, no, he's going to turn and go. Can't get them all, I guess. But again, what I'm looking at is I'm looking to softly lay that fly on the water about a foot from that fish in the same path that it appears that the fish is feeding. That way, as the fly drops down into his face, the fish can feed naturally up to it. Hopefully, okay, what I'm looking at, I've just cast. The fish is just slowly kind of working his way. I've cast my fly into the path where that fish is feeding, and he's coming up. I'm watching, and boom. There we go, there we go. And sometimes it works out for you. Breaking that tippet, and I'm just going to let him wear himself out a little bit, and then I'm going to see if I can't make some ground on him. Okay, it's looking good. It's looking like I'm going to be able to start bringing him back. He's made that initial run. Again, I didn't pull so hard that I pulled the fish off, and I thought, well, we're starting to get a little progress. I've gotten my fly line just about all the way in. If you can have enough piece or concentration to not pull that fly line up into the tip of your rod, that's a great tip for not breaking off fish. Because what happens then if that fish takes off running again and your fly line gets caught on the tip of your rod, it'll break your tippet and you'll lose your fish. So we've just about got this guy worn out. I'm going to see if I can't get him over here and see if Cinda can get a hold of him. Definitely helps to have a fishing partner with you if you can, and somebody who can scoop that guy up.
Here we are looking at some carp flies. Cindy, you want to tell us a little about this?
Yep, this is just a good selection of what I like to use when I'm carp fishing. You know, any of these things that you see with legs, there's a combination of some nymphs here, or vegetation patterns as well, and some dries. This little guy here is what we call a green weenie. Next to him is the orange weenie. It's just a good combination. The stuff with legs. The legs aren't necessarily there to attract the carp. They're there so you can see the fly drop. So if you add white legs or chartreuse legs, it's something to see because you're placing the fly right in front of the fish and you have to watch the fish eat it. So these things allow you to be able to see that fly drop down in the water so you can watch the fish come over to him. Some other flies that we like to use for grass carp. Grass carp are surface feeders. They'll actually come up on the surface and they'll eat a lot of the vegetation and the algae and stuff on top of the water. So this guy right here is a foam fly called the cartoon hopper. I've caught quite a few grass carp on the surface. This is a Rainey's fly, just called the typical olive Rainey's hopper. This is one that actually I tied myself, just a piece of foam on top of some, looks like grass. And that's really the key. You know, grass carp and common carp and koi are like every other fish you catch. If you go out and you walk your ponds and look at what they're eating, go home, tie something that looks like that, and you'll be into fish. I mean, you know, people talk about how difficult carp fishing is, but just use the same things you know about every other fish. They eat, you know, match the hatch.
Match the hatch. Well, they don't always eat just vegetation. I have seen them eat some insects and dig out some crayfish.
And common carp will eat some little bait fish and stuff as well.
That's right. So you want to be prepared. There's a lot of trout flies that'll work, but I'll tell you, this is the best selection I've seen.